come and stand there, and they'll be looking over all of us. And those days, I used to come and sit down there and wait and say, "Charlie, this guy, how did he get here?" That was when I came to level 100.
Wow.
You know, so you follow them,
and
you
grow into
it, then you get involved, then you know. But a lot of the guys from MPP, NDC, CPP, from the campuses. So these days, quite disheartening when you see how, because they're not allowing them to voice out, and it's obvious.
That's right.
You don't even know the calendar, and I hear some say it's because politicians are interfering.
Yes, which it's always been. It's always been.
No, since Adam. You understand? And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with that, because the university is the university. It's a school for adults. You know, so of course when I was in Legon, I mean, they were coming and we were coming and we were engaging and we were plotting and planning and you know, setting the agenda together. What is wrong with that?
It was also breeding grounds for a lot of corrupt politicians.
No, I mean, corruption is in the church, it's in the palace, it's everywhere.
It's more pronounced.
No, it's everywhere. It's not true. It's everywhere. Today in Ghana, I don't think politicians are the most corrupt.
Really?
Yeah, go to the public institutions. Go. People deliberately cause chaos so they can benefit from it. You understand? So I think we need to analyze corruption holistically. One of the reasons why I think we are unable to deal with it completely, because we always keep an eye on the politicians, you know, the low-hanging fruits. You know, these guys, you know, come back to you for votes. So it's easy, but I tell you, they are the least corrupt. They are the least corrupt. So we need to allow the university students to thrive. Let's allow them to.
Okay. Miracles, Aboagye, Eddie. Well, some of us have different names. We have different names for you, but we'll not mention that. But you've been a very busy man. You're a chartered marketer. You're a salesman. By default, you are an agenda boy, and you're also currently the leader for communication for your party's running mate, Dr. Bawumia. What is it like in a day-to-day activity for someone in your position?
It's
when you wake up in the morning, what do you do?
It's a 24-hour economy for me. I mean, for us, you don't sleep, because you know, radio, print media, TV, online. It's a 24-hour online. It's a 24-hour industry.
That's right.
And then you come to even the community engagement itself. There's no sleep when you're in a campaign period. So and the routine is the same. You're engaging people from morning to morning. There's no respite in between the period. So we do power naps. So when I came here, like some 10 minutes ago, I'd already slept.
Wow.
Oh no, I've had a full nap before getting up and brushing my hair and coming here.
So wife not worried?
Oh,
for your health?
She's used to it. She's experienced it for a while now. So she's basically used to it. She understands. Everybody understands. Everybody around me,
that's right.
I hope actually understands that that's how it is. So you're engaging a lot of stakeholders. You're engaging a lot of people in the space, both internally and externally, because the mandate is simple: ensure that the message, the brand Bawumia, the message Bawumia, the vision Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and the MPP is espousing gets to the people.
What is the message?
We believe that Ghana needs to use whatever we've done so far as a launch pad to get into the future. That there are a lot of things that we need to achieve as a people before we can really get to where it is that we are trying to get to. In 2008, something happened. When the MPP had set the foundation for so many other sectors, it got truncated in the 2008 election. By change of government. And within the 8-year period, most of the things that the MPP achieved were reversed. And the reason is simple. Sometimes I don't blame the NDC too much, because the vision is different. The principles are different. How we believe in the MPP, things should be done for this country is completely different from how the NDC believes. So if you truncate it, what you are doing is that you are setting the ground for them to reverse everything and redo it. And so what we're saying this time is, let's complete what we've started. Everything we say we'll do in 2016, we've done a part of it. We're not done. There are a lot of things outstanding, but we've achieved a lot, Giovanni. Giovanni, we've achieved a lot in the road sector. We've achieved a lot in education. We've achieved a lot in health. Industrialization, so much have been achieved. But there are a lot of things that also need to be done. And so our point is that once we've set the foundation and the base, we need to see to an end what it is that we seek for this country as a political party and as a government. Then afterwards you can take a decision.
So there's a message you preach.
That is the base. That is the basis for us asking for a third term. And then Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia takes each of the sectors and espouses specific vision for each of the sectors. So he believes that one of the ways we need to deal with our currency situation is to push and complete the industrialization drive.
Okay.
Today we have 160 factories that hitherto were not in existence, that governments together with private sector has put together. But that is not all. There's something fundamentally wrong with the structure of the economy that we're running. That you are highly import dependent. You import a lot of things. What it means is that you are always chasing the foreign currency. And then the biggest headache even is that when the country you are importing from experiences their own setbacks, it affects you. Even though you are seated here. So I remember somewhere around 2021, 2022, when Turkey's inflation went all the way to 80%. So Turkey, here you are. Turkey is far away somewhere. You sit here in Ghana. Turkey's inflation is at 80%, but you are importing the inflation. You know why? Because this chair that we're seated on is important from Turkey. So if you bought it last month from Turkey at, let's say, $100, and you came to sell it at $110 here in Ghana, and then you go back to Turkey a month later and realize that, hey, they've experienced 80% inflation, and so they are selling the products you bought at $100 at $180. You are obviously bringing it back to Ghana to come and sell it to us at about $210, $220. So you've imported the inflation from Turkey. And so the idea is, why don't we fix that? In fixing it, it takes a while. Today we have over 8 automobile companies assembling in Ghana. You would not necessarily feel its impact immediately. But in the medium term, you would feel that.
All right.
And that is all work in progress that is not completed. Shall we just finish it? Shall we complete it? Shall we just bring it to an end so that we don't again, like we experienced in 2008, truncate it? And then he comes in to talk about how we should back our currency with the gold mineral resource that we have. So he speaks of the Mineral Development Bank, which he believes that he would use that to finance the small scale miners, so they can actually own the concession themselves, mine, extract this gold, we buy in cedis, hold it here to back our currency and strengthen it.
All right, Miracles, you've said a lot of things, and it's beautiful to hear that these are things feedback people even give you directly after you tell them, well, this is the message your candidate has for them. It's an election year. But again, the average Joe would tell me that all this remains things you would say to highlight some of the gains of your party. But me, the average Joe, I'm a businessman. I see struggle, and I've given you 8 years of my life as a Ghanaian to see some visible change. And you still call this work in progress. You still talk about the fact that, you just want more years to continue some of the things you started, so it's not truncated like we've witnessed in 2008. When you tell people this, when you carry this message along, what did they tell you? Did they give you that assurance that, you know what, we believe this, and we believe that all these hardships we witnessed today are temporal, and that we're going to get to an era where I don't have to struggle to afford the very basic things? Because we've said it countless times, even here on our show. We said the average Ghanaian is not asking for too much. A place to quietly lay his head, enjoy lights, so he's not paying too much for utilities, so that the tax is not killing the average Joe whose salaries remain the same for all those years and all that. And I'm sure you are Ghanaian. Beyond the fact that you're a politician, you're a Ghanaian. You feel some of these things too. People are your DM begging you. And how do you break down this message of hope you carry to the average person?
Experience. The experiences the average person has had over the period is what is helping us to really break the barrier and communicate to them. They've seen it before. You see, Giovanni, in all of this conversation, it comes down to one thing. We need to make a decision. We are not throwing our hands in the air as a people and said we are done. We are selling our country. No, we're going to make a decision. And that decision is one that is supposed to select a leader that will take this country to the next level, wherever it is that we are. So when we have the conversation with the ordinary Ghanaian, we acknowledge where we've come from as a people. We acknowledge what the challenges are. We also acknowledge what it is that we've been able to achieve. And then why we've not even been able to do the few that are standing and the way forward. Whether we like it or not, we must make a choice. And you agree with me, in the next election, predominant the choice between Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and former President Mahama. That is what we have. That is a decision we have to make.
You're not threatened by the new force?
None of them can even gather more than 100,000 votes.
You're saying
yes. I mean, you
for
see,
Cheddar and his followers.
I doubt he can even do 100,000 votes. And it is without any disrespect to them.
Okay.
You know, to go into a national election is a big deal. You can't jump into it in the middle of the day. There are 38,622 polling stations in this country. People will go and queue and vote on specific issues. It's a big deal. It's not one that you wake up overnight and you make it happen. And that's why, respectfully, I hold that view.
You don't think I time for changes now? Ghanaians are fed up of the NDC MPP and will want to, just annoy the system, break rules for some.
You see, you have a country to build. And you have a future. You have a future to protect. You can't do that on emotions. You can't do that at all on emotions. If you do that, what you're doing is that you are creating a worst scenario for the country. The country has several areas that need to be addressed. What you do is to analyze it and determine which aspect of it you believe is working for you and which aspect isn't working for you to make your decision. Giovanni, let's also accept that Ghana is not Accra. You understand?
Very important.
Ghana is not Accra. And then let's also understand that beyond the macro economy, everybody's micro economy is different. Our micro economies are not the same. You and I, where we live, we know where we live. Okay, when we wake up in the morning, we have to buy 80 to 90% of the things we need to survive. But you know, there are people that when you cross Adenta and you go into my constituency, Kiapim area, they probably would have to buy just 40% because they are basically domestically at the local economy level, they are generating everything on their own, and so the effect is not felt as much as you feel it here. You understand what I'm saying? So the microeconomy is also a determining factor. If I'm a parent who had about 3-4 children going to secondary school between 2012 and 2016, and then within the period I spent about, let's say, 50 to 60,000 to get them to go to school. In fact, I saw other neighbors whose kids could not enter school because they couldn't afford this. And then this year, or in the last 8 years, I have 2 children of mine who have gone to this same education without paying a dime. And I've seen my neighbor whose children couldn't afford education in the past also affording it now and are in school. It may affect my decision making. It may. If I live in a community where mothers used to die when they go into labor, in a community where we used to have a lot of miscarriage and stillbirth because our roads are bad and we didn't have health facilities, and I wake up today and I see a road and I see a health facility, yes, prices of water may be high, but I am going to take my decision based on so many things, not just one element. And so when I look at the other elements that are working for me, it may affect my decision making. And so we should not make that mistake to think that the macro economy is the only determining factor of a voter decision. So several things get into the voter's mind when they are going into the poll to cast their vote.
All right.
Everything that we want to achieve as a country is a process. Even the ones that we achieve now, you get to a point where you realize that you need to review it and still improve upon it. And that is what every Ghanaian voter is using to take a decision come December 7th.
Clearly we are in an election year, so forgive us if you are throwing the whole voter argument in there now. But people need to survive before the elections, right? Yes. And we're going to want to have that conversation around.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's how did we get here? And I'm asking this based on the fact that we all thought, I mean, with the way the managers of our economy, your government has managed things, especially during COVID, we all thought that, post-COVID, we're going to be... Let me give you a very typical example. I mean, why are we still paying COVID levy in 4 years or 3 years after the pandemic? People are asking tax. Yes, we're not paying for toll, but yet we are equally paying more for other areas. And what exactly are you going to be doing differently if your candidate is given the nod for the next 4 years or after the election? What exactly
you had a very important question. How did we get here? How we got here is common knowledge for everybody. But for COVID, we will not be here. There is no doubt about that. Because if you look at all the indicators between 2018 and 2020, you could realize that clearly Ghana was in a path of growth. every single macroeconomic indicator you see today, which you are worried about, was perfectly growing in the right direction. We picked inflation from a double digit around 15%. By 2020, it was a single digit around 8% thereabouts. So COVID came. COVID is what happened to us, Giovanni. We are not the ones saying it. What is happening across the world is evident. COVID happened to us. We cannot pretend. The pretense will be left with their political class for them to use that to play their political gimmicks. But COVID happened to us. COVID happened when we had to shut down schools and still pay our teachers. COVID happened to us when we had not budgeted for a certain salaries, but we have to recruit more nurses and more doctors to be able to take care of us. COVID happened to us when we had to look for more money to pay allowances that we had not planned for. COVID happened to us. COVID happened to us when, because people were not productive, government had to put in place social safety nets to ensure that they felt some cushion around them. COVID happened to us. Industries shut down. Companies shut down. Tema, you were here when you had 300 workers affected by COVID in factories in Tema. They had to shut down. All these things have effect on your economy. At the time when these things were happening, the president told us. And that is why it's always important that we play that voice. He said that, listen, where we have gotten to, we have a single choice to make. We have to make a decision as to whether we want to save lives or want to protect our economy. When we lose a person, we cannot get the person back. And listen, there's a brother of ours that you know that passed during the COVID period. He passed at the heat of COVID. If our friend, I don't want to mention his name because I don't want people to recollect the memory. If he was alive today, and we understand and we knew how we are managing COVID like we are doing today, I'm not sure he would have died. But he died at Fiesta. As a Fiesta, M Plaza. You know M Plaza was an isolation center. He died there because that was at the height of it when nobody knew how to manage this pandemic. Something we had never experienced since 1920 as a world. And so when it happened, it didn't only affect our health, it affected our economy, it affected every aspect of our lives. Then we managed to find a way around COVID. So we started opening up the economy. Just when we were opening up the economy, then Russia-Ukraine happened to us. You see, whenever you bring Russia-Ukraine up, everybody that understands economy and understands governance knows it, except when they want to play mischief. So the bombs are not thrown into Ghana. The bullets are not fired in Ghana. But this is what happens. We import a lot of things from Russia. We import a lot of things from Turkey. And we import a lot of things from countries who rely on Russia and Turkey for their raw material base to produce for us. So like it happened in during the COVID era. Because we import a lot from Asia, Asia shut down for almost a year. You are aware of that. And when Asia shut down, what happened was that it affected production. So this is a direct implication. Things that we used to buy from China that were costing $1, because they had reduced production, it had increased demand and the supply was not there. And so these same things were now costing $5. What it means is that naturally, when you go to China to go and buy the same thing you used to buy, it's going to cost you more to bring. And then when it gets here, you are going to sell it at $6 instead of $2 that you used to sell it. Now, the other implication on our currency is that when you are going back to China to go and buy, previously, you were using $100,000 to go and buy because you are buying one at $1 and you need to buy 100,000. Today, even though you are going to buy the same 100,000 quantity, the dollar has gone up as a result of the hike of price from China. And so now you need $600,000 to go and buy from China. Where is the $600,000? You have to go and scramble for it. As you are scrambling for the dollar, which we don't have so much of it, what happens is that the dollar price, that's what, it goes up. That is what basically happened to our currency. Now, you go to Turkey, you are going to buy from them. Turkey relies heavily on Russia, Ukraine for their raw material base. And so Turkey is also struggling. So you are going to buy it at a higher price. It comes to Ghana, you sell it at a higher price. It affects your inflation. It affects your exchange rates because you need more dollar now to go back to Turkey and go and buy. Forget what we buy from Russia and Ukraine. Brazil, Vietnam rely on Russia and Ukraine for the base, for the nitrate and all the fertilizer base that they need to produce fertilizer to plant their rice and stuff that we buy from them. Now they are not getting the supplier as they need it. So when you go to Vietnam, you go to Brazil, the things you are going to buy from them to Ghana, the prices have gone up. Containers that we used to import to Ghana, which were sold at $3,000, $1,000, started selling at $13,000. So obviously, it is only when you want to do politics that you will not understand how we got here. That is exactly how we got here. And you want evidence? The evidence is that UK in 2022, under 6 months, had to change their prime ministers 3 times. Why? Because the economy was going through turmoil. The British pound, inflation in UK had suffered a 40-year high inflation. The United States of America had seen a 40-year hike in inflation. Something they've not seen before.
There are people
Germany
who say
had shortages of flour and bread. So that is the evidence.
Miracles. There is also the argument that when it suits your narrative, then you compare a developing nation as Ghana, a small developing nation as Ghana, to world superpowers post-COVID. And even the Asia example you cited, a lot of people also disagree by saying that, hey, it took them even shorter time to recover post-COVID. There are people who also are of the opinion that the Russian-Ukraine example you cited, even in the midst of war, they were still doing fairly well. Using them as an excuse.
It's complete ignorance.
No, using them as an excuse.
Anybody that says that is completely ignorance of the value chain. So Russia is the one producing the oil.
Yeah.
They are the one producing all the things you are going to import from them. So they are having war, but they are producing. So they don't have to be affected. Don't forget, the foundation of this economy is import dependent.
Yeah.
And so the recovery will not be the same for all countries. Because already we've spoken about the foundation. You are completely import dependent. Third party effect affects you even more than the third party himself. Okay. So that is the truth. That is the fact.
So would you admit that your government is a bit overwhelmed? And to rephrase that, whilst in opposition, and a lot of people share this opinion, whilst in opposition, you see certain things, then you get into power and you say that it's far from reality.
Not true.
You'd have to work harder to achieve.
That's completely false.
Okay.
And it is false because if you look at all the things the government did in the first term, clearly you could see that we're in the path of growth. In opposition, there was no COVID. Nobody anticipated that in your second term you're going to experience a global pandemic that had not happened over 100 years until then. Nobody anticipated that we're going to have Russia, Ukraine go into war for all these war up to now. Nobody anticipated that. So that cannot be a correct
assessment. So these are just a few examples.
I'll be happy to have the example, but these two examples are completely flawed.
All right.
But you see, the difference between this government and the opposition party that is seeking to come and replace us is that we have been humble enough to go to the people and tell the people that, listen, these are the challenges, these are the difficulties, but as we pursue the fixing of these things, shall we consolidate and protect this? Because you see, now we are discussing solutions, Giovanni. We are discussing ways out of it. You understand? But it doesn't mean that the little we've been able to achieve should be thrown away. And that is the mistake we made in 2008. Right. In 2008, in spite of all the MPP did, we experienced the global, the Wall Street economic difficulties. When they had the real estate, the Bank of was in part, the real estate collapsing and America struggling, and it affected us. And that was a year that, in spite of what Kufuor had done, we even had water shortages. We had fuel shortages. At the same time, fuel prices were up. That was a year you have to queue for 3 days before you get 1 gallon of fuel to buy. And so don't forget that Kufuor had introduced health insurance, and so we're not paying anything when we go to the hospitals. Kufuor had introduced free maternal care. Kufuor had introduced capitation to make basic education truly free, and all the other things Kufuor had done. But this same opposition, what they did was they rode on that challenge Kufuor experienced in 2008 like we're experiencing today, and built on the emotions of the people and said, oh, they are thieves. These are criminals. Look at their bank statement. They have stolen every money from the Bank of Ghana. See, go to Bank of Ghana. All the gold bars there are gone. It's not there. Vote against them. I don't blame the people. If I experience what we experienced in 2008 and experience what we experienced in 2022, you will not care about what the person has done for you, because as a human being, your needs are insatiable. They never end, and so you're always looking for more. So it's easy for you to fall for the emotional games. Right. And then the NDC had their way. They were voted into office, and what we experienced is what we saw. National health insurance was collapsed. 100,000 Ghanaian children thereabouts were left on the street every year because their parents were poor and they could not afford, and there were not enough classrooms. They did nothing about industrial base. We had Dumso for 3 good years out of 4 years,
which they fixed once we were leaving power.
So how can something you fix still be there? How can something you fix be there?
So they fix whilst leaving power.
So you fix it.
So
why are we not experiencing? Why are we
expressing it under your government?
So you see, that is why.
No, but we had enjoyed.
Hold on.
You mentioned it.
We enjoyed what?
We had enjoyed lights on continuously.
Hold on. I'm telling. See, let's get into that.
No, but you raised that yourself.
First of all, it is false. It is not true. The NDC never fixed Dumso, because as at March 2017, we still had Dumso. As of June 2017, we still had Dumso. Dumso truly was eradicated from July. And you know why? When we were in opposition...
July which year?
2017.
Okay.
When we were in opposition, we consistently said, Giovanni, that the Dumso problem was a financial problem. Because what the NDC did was simply go abroad and go and tell the people that you have a generator, bring it to Ghana. Please, bring it to us on credit. Whether the power you produce, whether we use it or not, we'll pay. Take or pay. And so you just bring it. And they brought a lot of generators. So if bringing generators is your solution, then Giovanni, anybody that believes that is not serious. Because hold on, the generators were in Ghana in 2015, 2016 and still were in Dumso. How can you have generators and still be in darkness? It's simply because you had the generators, but you didn't have money to buy fuel to power those generators. That is the truth. The only way this government fixed Dumso was to get the money and buy fuel.
Okay.
And so anytime you realize that we are going through crisis, it is simply because there is no money.
All right.
That is why you saw Gridco and ECG release a statement. Didn't they talk about gas? Did they tell you that there are no generators? There are generators. In fact, we had generators in excess because the NDC only borrowed, and it's one of our challenges now.
So you're confirming now is Dumso not Dumso here, like a lot of people say. Well, it doesn't matter.
For me, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
What is crucial is that we are now experiencing what we went through for 3 years.
That's okay.
That's for 10 weeks of going through this crisis. We feel it, and we can imagine how normal it became for us in three years under the former president. But that is what they put us through post Kufuor, and this is what we are asking, that we do not fall for these gimmicks anymore. They are not proposing any solution. They are not proposing any alternative. They speak of nothing. All they are saying is that the MPP said they will do 20. They have done only 12. They couldn't do it. So get them out of power and bring us.
All right.
But the point here is this: when you had a chance to be in power, you said you do 30. You did 3. I said I'll do 20. I have done 11. You don't automatically come to office because the government in place hasn't done all he said he would do. What you do is that you go and propose cogent solutions.
Yeah.
And then when those cogent solutions are proposed, the people will weigh and take a decision. Here you are, the government of the day, the flag bearer of the MPP, is rather moving around and telling the people sector by sector what he believes moving forward would have to do as a country, and the opposition are just home complaining.
All right. Is there a confirmed date for the announcement for your running mate? We are almost months into the election.
It could be tomorrow. It could be the day after tomorrow.
Is this someone we all know? Someone familiar with our political
I mean, definitely. Okay. I mean, it should be somebody.
Well, you're pulling a surprise on all of us by naming someone very, very underground.
It is possible.
Okay.
That's also possible.
All right.
The point is that, it's a pure prerogative of the flag bearer.
Okay.
With ratification from the National Council.
Yeah.
The flag bearer has always known who is running mate to be.
Interesting.
Yeah, even before he went into the primaries. So he's known. But we have our strategy, we have our calendar, we have our plan.
Does it know when? And you're not worried that might affect your build up to the election?
The running mate is on the ballot paper.
No, what it means is then it becomes a 3-tier approach.
No, but Dr. Aboagye himself in 2008 was nominated in August.
But what it means is he alone cannot have the campaign should be 3-tier,
Yeah, but so far
you have a different strategy to yours.
But let's even analyze it completely. So our opponent was elected a year, and a year after he elected, he nominated his running mate.
Yeah, but she is familiar with the.
But so you don't know who we are bringing.
By the last election,
she was
anyways, we'll get into that too. We wish you well, at least.
I know.
Well, there's a demonstration today going on. For this hands off our hotels. There's a demo on there. We've seen some pictures online and all that, and they are calling on some names or prominent names within your party to stay clear of some of these hotels, and they are calling for proper investigations into some of this. What do you make of it? I'm sure you've seen it pop up on your timeline.
I think that we are in a democracy. Everybody should be allowed to express their view.
Okay.
The same way others are protesting, others are also in support of the decision of Senate because it's a business decision.
Okay.
The most important thing is that Senate has a board that has several sects of people represented on the board, including workers and all of that. and the board has taken a decision, I think that whatever decision they've taken, they might have gone through some work to be able to arrive at this point. And Senate is the one with the mandate to pay me my pension. All I care about is that when I go on pension,
they should pay you.
They better be in a position to pay me. But for me, I don't think there's anything wrong. But what is quite interesting is you have people who have bought state assets on the street campaigning against sale of state assets. That's
politics for.
Oh yeah,
Ghana politics.
Because I see people today. I saw people and I was like, oh, but this one I know how
But with that,
I know how Ghana Film Company was sold.
See, but this is the thing.
No, I know.
So let me ask you a question based on this feedback. I mean, then there are people who always go like, Charlie, young people are not making this politics look interesting. It's like when you're on the other side or when your party's in power, you know what is wrong or what is right for us. And then when you come there and then you play along to us, because a lot of young people are venturing into politics right now, and they will tell you that it's not because they have love for the country. It's because they also want to feed family, and then this grab and go attitude.
You may be wrong. I know politicians who are riding Okada. I know politicians who are riding in Churchill. Trust me, believe me. You know, I've been MC.
Yes.
I've been police station youth organizer, police station chairman, constituency deputies. I've been. I know politicians who are struggling. So it's not true.
It's not a money grabbing opportunity.
You may be shocked and you find yourself in a packaging. Giovanni, there's a lot of packaging. There's a lot of packaging happening in Accra.
I know.
If you follow packaging, there are ministers, former ministers you see today, and there are former members of parliament, former chief executives. Giovanni, when you have political office, there are certain things that are due you, that if you don't take care, you are seated and you see the person, you may mistake. I mean, when you become managing director of Media General and per your appointment, there's a Land Cruiser for the managing director of Media General. You go drive him, you go drive him. Okay, but so if somebody sees you driving that and the person begins to position media one day, you may be surprised. You understand? So let's erase that from our minds completely. It's not true. Get into politics because you are passionate about it. Get into politics because it's something that you love, but don't get into it because you want to.
How would you rate your government's fight against corruption? Why are we not? I mean, with all the allegations of corruption, even against former government appointees that your party came into power trumpeting, why are we not having more than we have in our jails? Like, why are we not in jail?
You see, there are several things around the corruption conversation. The perception is there.
Okay.
And when it comes to the corruption perception, it's all about it's a lot about PR. So I can just get up one day and say, Charlie, Giovanni has stolen 10 million Ghana cedis. And today, social media. In fact, somebody will just see that on his feed and will never hear anything about that story again. So anytime you see Giovanni stole 10 million Ghana cedis. So that one is also there. Then there are those that have actually committed the crime. You understand? And then there are those that are only alleged as to having committed a crime. Now, if you don't take care and you find yourself in the PR space of corruption, Giovanni, you will be in trouble. Your heart will always be aching for nothing. The second aspect of it is also that there are laws, and we run the country with laws. It is possible for you to see somebody put a gun to somebody's head, but the person will go scot-free. You understand? Because when you go to the court, you cannot just go and say, I saw Giovanni clock the gun and put to the guy's head. The judge will not just say, because you claim you saw him, Giovanni should go to jail. So there are a lot of things. What for me I think is important with dealing with corruption is the systems we put in place. As much as possible, let's make it more difficult and more complex for people to be able to engage in corruption. Because it's a human thing. If you continuously create that human interface for people, they will always find a way around it. So systems are important. That's why I am a proponent of digitalizing every public sector thing.
Eliminating the human.
A lot of them as much as we can. But if you are still going to ask somebody to take money and record it in a notebook, then be rest assured that it doesn't matter who you are putting there. You are likely to experience corruption. You understand? And that's why if you go to a hospital, there is corruption. That's why a nurse or a doctor would turn somebody away even though he has a health insurance card only to charge him money. That is why you go to even today, passport. With all the digitalization that has been introduced into passport, you still know that there are still people, who still be walking around there and trying to cause, challenges. Because see, 3 weeks ago I experienced something at the Tema passport office, and I've already escalated it. It's an eyesore. It's an eyesore. You go to, I've come to secure a passport. Why should I hassle for it? Why should I come and sit at the passport office from morning till 5-6 p.m. be maltreated, be shouted at, be screamed at, only because I want to get a passport? And those are all ways to engender corruption. Because if I am coming to get my passport,
you want the fast way out.
When I come and I know that I'll be shouted at, I'll be molested, I'll be screamed at, and somebody tells you that, listen, I'll come and queue for you at 3 a.m. When you come, give me 200 cedis and take my spot, I will pay. You understand? And I think that these things should be reduced simply by using systems. And we cannot continue to assume that because Giovanni is driving like your car, you drive like this, big car, so Giovanni is stealing money. I think that is wrong. I think that when there is an established fact that Giovanni is stealing money, the law should deal with him. So if you see anybody go to court and the law deals with the person, it means that the law is established that the person actually committed a crime. But if the person goes to court and the person walks scot-free, don't say that the law has left the person. It means that the person actually, by our laws, hasn't done anything.
Let me get some callers on since we're in our final 20 minutes of the show. But in case you just joined us, this is the 3FM Drive. Today we're spending time with Dennis Miracles Aboagye, politician and a chartered marketer. And he's also the lead communicator for Team It Is Possible, Team Baumia 2024. And I'm going to allow a few calls into the show. As I'm seeing a lot of messages on Facebook, I'm unable to even scan through all of them. Yes, so please, and half of them are insults to myself. Please save them for me, producer. Let me have the questions and separate it from her.
So somebody said that Giovanni, if Miracles come, don't ask him hard questions. I'll knock your head.
Someone actually said, why am I spoiling the show with politicians?
Yes.
I said it's an election year. We've had politicians here. We've had Samjata on here. We've had, in fact, Ablakwa is next on. So we have loads of them coming this year. So
we're happy.
It's a political year, and this is home. It's home. Everyone deserves love. So we're gonna get into that.
To when I live here, I go to a nation. They'll be watching.
I know. What's the toughest part of your job as a party communicator? What is the toughest part of the job?
I think it's about speaking to issues as they are. It's quite tough. If you want to, I'm very blunt. I'm very blunt, and I think it's quite difficult if you want to stick to the path of, say it as it is, put it across. Mine,
especially in our settings.
Yes, mine is to simply put out what the issue is, what the truth is. I put out the facts. I like it when people are making their decisions based on facts. And so anybody that follows me knows that for me, it's about putting out the facts. What you do with it is your own issue. But I tell you, this is what it is, and then you make your decision. I think people don't like it.
Ever been in a position where you had to defend something false?
We don't
only for you to realize later on that I misspoke.
Oh yes, and I apologize.
Really?
Yes, I've done it like 2 times. I apologize, and it's easy. It's not difficult. I'm a crapping boy. Apologies. It's not the biggest. Giovanni, what's the big deal? So I said Giovanni is wearing a white dress today, and it turns out he's wearing wine or brown. I should just come and apologize. How difficult is it?
Okay.
So the difficulty for our job really is when you want to stick to the part of the facts. It's quite difficult. Our people, we have a very polarized political space, and sometimes people don't like it. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with a politician. If I make any mistake, I will apologize. There's nothing wrong at all with that.
Giovanni, please ask Dennis. Okay, let me get the full text because I think it's buried in a lot of other messages. With Ghana's current economic situation, do you think this will guarantee a win for his candidates? And also, he should name 2 major achievements of the party. Yes, I think yes, 2 major achievements of your political party.
We've together with private sector, put together 160 factories across this country. Is a big achievement. We've worked to ensure that no Ghanaian that wants to be able to access quality education is left at home, by removing cost barrier and ensure that every Ghanaian child that wants to have access to quality education gets quality education. These are major
areas that you think you failed as a political party.
Well, I think it's not an issue of failure. 2 areas that I think we still have a lot of work to do and can do better is on our macro economy, our inflation, our forex, the currency. These are areas that at the moment, between MPP and NDC, these are the areas that MPP really we need to do some work on. There's no doubt.
Businesses are struggling due to that.
Yes. There's no doubt about that. And we are working at it. You see, that's the difference between us. In the past, when the NDC struggled the economic crisis, which were locally, induced, you know what they said? They said, the president said he can't be bothered. He said that I'm a dead goat. You can't talk to me like that if you haven't been president before. No, he said it. He said you can't talk to me like that because you haven't been president before. You remember where the Ghana Medical Association were asking for better salaries because there were economic difficulties? He said he's not going to negotiate with them. When poor people's kids were in colleges and were getting allowances, because the economy was struggling, he withdrew those allowances. They cried, they demonstrated, he did nothing about it. When the economy was having difficulties under him, what he did was that he placed a freeze on public sector recruitment. When we came to office in 2017, nurses and teachers who completed in 2014, 2015, 2016 were at home. So the biggest difference between today, a medical officer that was earning about 3,000 in 2016 is earning 10,000 cedis. That is a government that acknowledges that.
If you're a medical officer, you can send a message.
We have told you. Giovanni, trust me.
Miracles. If you want to send a message to me to confirm.
Let me send you the paying slip. It's here. So that you can watch.
I want to see it.
No, I'll give it to you.
But once at it, let me also ask this very important question. A lot of people are leaving the country. I know a lot of people are also coming into the country. A lot of our workforce, a lot of youth now find it very fancy to refer to themselves as people who have jackpot or left the shores of Ghana because they don't see any future in sight. What do you tell people?
There is nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Interesting.
HR exports is also a commodity.
That is if they're coming back.
Why? They are investing their monies home. They have parents, they have families. They are building back in Ghana. They don't have to necessarily come and live here, but they are investing back home.
No, some are living because conditions are tough. Some will tell you that I would even survive where there is war.
There is nothing wrong with that.
Is that not scary?
No.
Even if you're not feeling the impact
there is nothing wrong.
In 4 or 5 years, we'll be
the most
struggling with some
advanced
of these best
countries in the world, the most advanced, some of the great 8 economies, one of their biggest commodities exports. India.
Yes.
Today, tell me which Western country doesn't have. In fact, India is taking over their space. Go to the US, go to Virginia, go to the blue chip neighborhoods. So the point is that if you have nurses at home whose services are needed in the UK and can go there and go and work and make forex and bring it back home, let them go. Train more and let them fill in the space. There's nothing wrong with it.
But there are nurses at home with no job.
Exactly. Let's stick to the main issue. You raise the main issue of living. There's nothing wrong with living. Because if there are some here who don't have job and there are job spaces, we are in a global space now. The global economy is a single unit now. So if there are job spaces in the UK and say that come and teach, why shouldn't you go? Go there, make the forex, bring it back home. There is nothing wrong. And let me tell you something. Traveling outside Ghana didn't start today. Do you know Storeway?
Of course.
Storeway. You know Storeway.
But we paid
even
for
now Libya travel sky has gone down. But it used to be a big deal in the past. There is absolutely nothing wrong with export of human resource. It's also a commodity.
Well, Dennis, want to say big thanks to you. I want to say big thanks to you for spending time with us today on the 3FM Drive. We're looking forward to.
We're not going to do politics.
Yeah, I said we were not going to do that. That'd be the hook. I said we're not going to do politics. I think no problem. But people wanted to know this. So let me quickly activate the phone lines for the last 5 minutes of the show before Beatrice and the team takes over for her edition. 0559 242 717 0559 242 717 and 0556 910-154. Miracle Aboagye is here as guest. And a quick one here. So Kim Paluta, was he giving some money to, well, you're on the campaign trip, no?
Yes.
Yeah, so that photo opportunity or that video we saw with Dr. Aboagye has gone viral. A lot of people saying the guy decided to go MPP.
Nasi has sung for the NDC. Was he bribed? Nasi. Rexomar sings for the NDC. In fact, he's out there publicly for the NDC. Is he bribed? There's nothing wrong. So I listen to Nasi songs. I listen to Rexomar. I watch Mr. Beautiful.
That's right.
I listen to Abeku Santana. I like KOD's show. There's nothing wrong with all these things. It's only the NDC that have a problem with a musician supporting the MPP. We in the MPP, we don't have any problem with a musician or an artist supporting the NDC. There's nothing wrong with that. I think they should grow up.
You think people who say
the NDC
Paluta is
have they said
sold?
Have you heard them say same about Nasi? It's disrespectful to the gentleman. Why is it that Nasi can go and campaign for John Mahama? Why is it that Abeku Santana, Rexomar, KOD, all these guys can campaign for John Mahama, but others cannot campaign for?
So is it confirmed that he's campaigning for?
Yeah, no, he has even spoken publicly that he's not even campaigning. Right. Now, even if he is, what's the big deal?
Let's have this question from our listener. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Welcome to the 3FM Drive. Let's hear you.
Yeah, Giovanni, this is Bilal speaking from Macedonia.
Okay.
Yeah, you see, there is all what he's saying. Nobody's arguing with his opinion. But there is a proverb in my language. I'm a Safra by tribe anyway.
Okay.
It goes like, "Dur second mer posar kala kanong mer kema." The stick you would use to beat your first wife is that same stick that you still use and beat your second wife. When Mama was in, we heard everything. They were the backbiters. Like, they were saying everything that Ghanaians would believe that they are the best to come. And this is their time. There's nothing we haven't seen. I've purposely gone for a meeting, a business meeting, and this man was like, I should put money on the table to strike the deal. It was a job that I was working for. And I completed 2020. He was requesting for 150 million.
Before you get the job.
Trading in the market. How would he raise this kind of money? How?
So sorry, the question is. So the question is.
The question is, with all what he's saying is true, but we are not seeing it in real life. Okay. It's just like he's explaining a dream.
You want to feel this in your pocket as an ordinary Ghanaian?
Like it hurts.
Okay.
It hurts when you are listening to them on radio. But in reality, that's not what they are doing.
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. Miracle, you want to address this? Let me announce the line again. 0559-242-717, 0559-242-717, and 0556-910-154. Actually, let me take this caller before. Yeah, hello?
Good evening, man.
Yes, sir.
Michael is in Lima.
Okay, Michael.
So, Miracle.
Bro.
I remember we voted out the previous government due to certain things we face economically. And then, well, like my other colleague said, you guys were always on the neck of the then government. So, us, it is in your turn now, and you are facing same economical challenges. So what has been your differences? Let me see a difference between the previous and then this government, please.
Michael. Thank you so much, Michael. Who's next on 0559-242-717? Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yes. Your name and where you calling from?
This is John calling from
That's a beautiful acronym, don't you see? Sammy Johnson. Do you know why I put them there? This is our first. It's a very short story. And then we take a break and then we come to court. Someone looking at Ablakwa here has made an attempt, a very bizarre one, to define 24-hour economy. He has. It's a totally bizarre one. He's made an attempt to do so. Samuel Gyamfi has demonstrated the highest dereliction of duty of any national propaganda secretary of a party. Johnson Asedu Ketia, the chairman of the NDC, has also attempted a definition of a 24-hour economy, which is a policy statement made by President John Dramani Mahama. Now I come to Samuel Gyamfi. The reason why Samuel Gyamfi, who is the National Propaganda Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, the reason why I'm tackling him tonight for dereliction of duty is this. You are Samuel Gyamfi. You are the National Propaganda Secretary of the National Democratic Congress. Your presidential candidate, a former president, issues a policy statement. I will deliver a 24-hour economy. Once he says that, it behoves you, Samuel Gyamfi, the National Propaganda Secretary of the National Democratic Congress. It behoves you to now detail it in a document, like the Americans would say, a document. You have to isolate it in a document and tell your communicators, 24-hour economy, background, concepts, implementation, demerits, merits, then you draw a line on the page. Next page, questions to anticipate from our opponents, This is how you answer the question, You give them a brief. Samuel Gyamfi, the National Propaganda Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, this is your work. You give them a brief. Now, it is obvious that there's no such brief that accompanies the policy declaration by President Mahama. And that is where the problem is. On whose head do you put the problem, Samuel Gyamfi? Why is he not able to do that? It's not that he's not an intelligent man. He's an intelligent man. But he is chasing tapes and following after Jakpa. That is the reason why he's not able to do his work. And while he's not able to do his work, he goes around denying that people who are fluffing out, completely fluffing out the policy statement of President Mahama are not either members of the NDC or they are not members of the communication. Viewers, let me cut a long story short. One guy appeared on television, nice guy, Dr. something. I'll show you the video in a minute. And he was asked, what is 24-hour economy? Charlie, the thing the guy said is the most bizarre of all of them. But it's not as bad as Sammy Ablakwa's own, which I will go to soon. So without much ado, let's see that video. The one that created the trouble for the guy, and the one that shows that Samuel Gyamfi has been derelict in his duty as the National Propaganda Secretary of the National Democratic Congress. Have a look at the video.
The 24-hour economy, mama, papa, mom, titifie, mom, yen, and moi. John Dramani Mahama said what the modern farming techniques and the deba. Under animal farming. We'll call a bit to say Pudon or China. We'll call her animal farming. Wouldn't say Jatani Mwaka see elephant near the gum egu farm numbi. And you would mean Cosset or Quacodo, and I said, oh, what could be any know. It would decide setting up plantation in the BBA, we are no jam one ago. Not jam one guma, obey here almost swap. What would the plain ever Fabium? No mas as ever and one in any other. Not proud to that, no. What training expert for our musu ever share choir. A friend say, Omo ever shem one, so Bobby area, a bit my one of Pani any other. Nasanyoma way in an air baswa, a bad one or more Marie a Greek, Awagi care, KNUST, Legon. Woman in Abinia Jumaye.
With all that we are saying, I'm quite confused.
Okay.
I'm confused because I'm confused and I say, animal really no say yeah animal farming no say jatani winning in no ebe benefits. Yeah,
yes. Reason is ebe my tourist attraction.
Okay, good.
Because ukopudon.
Now more of tourism than say yeah re animal na
my. That no so no emo na kasa no ubetimi a export to be.
Okay.
Who export no na sika no dey enioma na ekọ no.
Okay.
Na unya dollars. Dollars ne ba ne bebo sika sama e dey ejina.
Okay.
Proud to that, no. They will make a exportation. No. Movement, however, no, I say, would the new money be corner? Not the corner, would you corner? Open your dollars number. Dollars bar, because country be ana. What can your mom more than your export to be ano? Country now more than a buffer. And na Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia Baya went to Mania, Wama Hochaba. It's your mom, we are station officers near the Ninano. Won't be near Jumaye. One more year, a for masonry reform. I bet to war, a fancy land in Nina. Almost be near Jumaye. Proud to that. Dr. Muhammad Baumia, Eba Yaoka say, obey one district, one factory, one team. And he was John Dramani Mahama say, under one district, one factory, no, one no dear, obey the embark on agro.
I say, Dayo media. Viewers, have you heard it? Hey, Charlie, politics can destroy nice people. Oh, look at this nice man. He has a PhD. He really does. He's worked hard for a PhD. I mean, you heard him. That is his understanding. 24-hour economy. We are going to rear lions, tigers. We will spray the nutrition onto them. 24-hour economy. So all hell broke loose because everyone thought that this was very bizarre and it became a laughing stock. All hell broke loose. Okay, so whilst all hell broke loose, Samuel Gyamfi, the National Propaganda Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, then put out a press statement 13 June entitled Kesbin TV Video in Circulation. Dr. William Atawusu, not a member of the NDC communication team. Because of the embarrassment, Samuel Gyamfi was looking for a way out because it is his responsibility to organize a document that defines the 24-hour economy, in the background with the research, demerits, merits, implementation plan, how it will affect the GDP, how it will affect business, the cumulative effect, the aggregate effect, all of that is a communication responsibility that should be undertaken by Samuel Gyamfi, the National Propaganda Secretary of the National Democratic Congress. He didn't do his work. Then he quickly pens a document on social media. He's fighting with Kesbin TV for even fielding the guy on their show because according to him, the guy is not a member of the National Democratic Congress's communication team. He's not a member of the army that he leads. But why should he be a member? When Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo declared one district, one factory, every MPP member could borrow from the leaf of the communication and talk about it. You don't need to be a member of the communication team. Every MPP member who finds himself on radio or television, member of parliament, whatever, understood how to articulate one district, one factory. What Akufo-Addo said, one district, one factory was the same thing Dr. Baumia said, the same thing Sammy Awoku said, the same thing everybody said, the same thing Esla Owusu said, same. Why? Because the National Communication Directorate must have put together a brief that this is the presidential candidate's vision of one district, one factory. Even if John Mahama has not put together a brief, it is Samuel Gyamfi's work to put the brief together and share among his people. Now, he doesn't do his work. He's derelict in his duty, and this is what he produces. 13 June 2024, Kesbin video. Let's see what he says. It says, my attention has been drawn to a video in circulation in which one Dr. William Atawusu is seen on Kesbin FM offering a bizarre explanation of the transformational 24-hour economic policy of the NDC. For the records, Dr. William Atta is neither a parliamentary candidate nor a member of the NDC's regional communications team that I lead. The views expressed by him on 24-hour economy policy don't in any way represent the position of the party. We urge all producers of various political talk shows in Ashanti region to stick to the approved list of communicators sanctioned by the party in inviting representatives of the NDC to their program. Again, another faux pas. In doing so, I'll come to that. I need that slide back. Wait a minute. In doing so, what he did, Samuel Gyamfi should have. You see what we do in communication. Anybody who's done communication before, when you finish, then you write background, something, things to know. He could even have done FAQs. FAQs means frequently asked questions. These are all tools of communication that every communication person understands. So in putting this out, he could have followed with FAQs. Frequently asked questions. You can say, for the avoidance of doubts, readers, for the avoidance of doubt, this is the 24-hour economy. FAQs, frequently asked questions. What is 24-hour economy? 24-hour economy is a policy by John Mahama When will 24-hour economy take place? 24-hour economy will take place when How will 24-hour economy help the youth? 24-hour economy, FAQs. I don't know whether he doesn't know all that. I think he does. Otherwise, he will not be propaganda secretary of the National Democratic Congress. So he didn't even take the opportunity of this publication to offer the explanation of the 24-hour economy. He didn't. All he said is that the man that you are all laughing at, he is not my man. Forget about him. I don't know him. Kesby people found him themselves. He is not a member of my team. Don't associate him to us. The views he expressed about tiger and lion are his own tigers and his own lions. He should deal with them. Okay, so get me the NDC sacks, the other slide. NDC sacks communication member for saying 24-hour economy will rear lions. That's on 15 June. The guy is fired. Dr. Atawusu, I feel sorry for you. Now, this is the catch. This 24-hour economy, who has been able to say what it is? What do I have here? Kesbin's response is this. Kesbin people, the Kesbin radio people, they responded. They said, evidence. Kesbin media, can I open it? Yeah, great. Kesbin media can authoritatively report that Dr. William Atawusu was introduced by Abbas Nuruddin to our producers as an addition to Ashanti Regional NDC communication team. And as a member, he can be featured on political shows on Kesbin. Okay, so this is the text message they produce. Here, somebody is sending to the Kesbin people, I believe it's Nuruddin, Abbas Nuruddin, is sending to the Kesbin people the number of Dr. William Atawusu. Then he is writing to PSCA. So yes, Abbas NDC, you can see at the top of the WhatsApp message. This WhatsApp message is becoming a matter because in Richard Jacquet's case, he gives you only 21%. Then he will keep the rest, 80% for himself. So Abbas NDC is the way in which PSCA of Kesbin has saved the name. So this is the conversation they have. I think the September 2023 goes off, okay. 30th September 2023. He sends a phone number. He says, hi PSCA, this is Dr. William Atawusu, our latest addition to the Ashanti Regional Communications team. Please be featuring him on your political programs. PSCA replies and says, thank you, sir. Very grateful. Sammy gyamfi. Sammy gyamfi. Have you seen this message? Sammy gyamfi, you are an important political officer of an important political party. You make a bold statement without even consulting Abbas Nuruddin. That in fact, if you are spoken to Abbas Nuruddin, to ask Abbas Nuruddin that, na Abbas, William Atawusu na okogu yenima se wo Kesbin, unim no. He would have said, oh yeah, boss, yes, I know him. You know, he's one of us, but the way he spoke there wasn't good. But why should Atawusu go on a show without a document in his hand on what is the meaning of the only policy that the flag bearer has announced 6 months to the election? This is the only policy that the flag bearer has announced. This is a flag bearer who is reeling under the pressure that he should name one thing he did when he was president. He should name one policy success when he was president. He should just name one when he was vice president. Name one. Since 2016. The candidate comes and says, okay, take it. 24-hour economy, I've named one. This is a futuristic policy. Up until now, 6 months to the elections, Sammy gyamfi has not developed a template to cover what the presidential candidate said. NDC people, are you listening? Your national communication director, the propaganda secretary, he has not up till now. And if I were the flag bearer, I'll be upset with him. The flag bearer should be upset with him. But I'm sure he's not. I don't know anyway. But if I'm flag bearer, I will be very angry with the guy. I have spoken about a policy. You have not even fine-tuned it. You have not put it together. You have not done that. What is wrong with you? What is happening? Etc., etc. Now he goes out and in his embarrassment and panic, he puts out a statement and says, oh, the guy is not with us. Kesbin TV say, hold on, sir. Take your time. Data doesn't lie. Take your time. Social media doesn't forget. This is the record. Your man, Abbas Nuruddin, who leads Ashanti region, wrote to Kesbin and said that William Atawusu, he is one of us. So please feature him. This is the problem. This is the problem. Now, thank you. Let's come to the other explanations of 24-hour economy. And ask Sammy Gyamfi, why was he unable to comment on those? Listen to Ablakwa and the way he struggled to even talk about what it means. Have a look.
Someone would argue that it's ill-defined and it's difficult to convince us that is the wholesome solution to the problems of our country right now.
What's ill-defined about it? I mean, the 24-hour economy is a 24-hour economy. We want to move.
Well, we are not learning more about how to operationalize. What we've got from the NDC.
You clearly have not been listening to us, and you've not been. You want me to send you there? We have a whole blueprint.
I have seen the packet.
Yes.
But it's only a simplified version of what will actually be applied. We are yet to understand how this will be operationalized, so that the Ghanaian people can reap from it. The NDC is taking too long in giving us that, but it's been propagating 24-hour economy. A buzz which some will say is trailing off.
Oh yeah, certainly. It's caught on, and the TUC has described this as a game changer. That's what this country has been waiting for. It's an idea whose time has come. Look, we have put out the blueprint. We have said that the flag bearer is just teasing out portions of our manifesto. Very soon, in a few months, we are going to launch the manifesto, and that's where, if you want the full program to go into the details, the bolts and nuts, you're going to have it. But there's nothing mysterious. It's not rocket science. We are not saying we are going to space. I mean, we're just talking about a 24-hour economy which has worked in other jurisdictions and can work here.
Is that all? It's just a 24-hour economy for the NDC going into the 2024 election. It's a very simple concept.
I earlier talked about how we're going to deal with corruption. The flag bearer has said that you have a no-nonsense approach. He has said that he will start from home. Charity begins at home, and that even his own appointees will not be spared. He's talked about constitutional reforms. And under constitutional reforms, he's talked about a whole swath of governance, governance reforms, which include, cancelling the ex gratia, for example, reducing the number of ministers. He has said that he can work with no more than 60 ministers, where we are now 87 and the likes, and it's going to be more, because we thought that there's been a reshuffle. We thought they would take advantage of this reshuffle to reduce the number of ministers, but that's not what has happened. People are being removed from sector ministers. They are being sent to the presidency. They are still going to be drawing from public funds. And then at the lands ministry, I'm told the deputy minister who was removed has just been appointed a special advisor to the minister. So virtually nobody is going home. Everybody is being asked to hang on to continue to draw scarce taxpayer funds. So we are saying that we are not going to have this obese government.
On the bread and butter issues is the 24-hour economy.
The 24-hour economy. The 24-hour economy. We're talking about infrastructure. He said that, look, we must continue with our program to have every regional capital having an airport. He's talked about the need to have in agriculture, to have farm banks,
I keep asking
cooperatives. So we have not put out our comprehensive.
Please, what did he say? Viewers, what did he say? What did the star boy Ablakwa, even him, he kept referring to some brochure. We have a brochure, and when the manifesto comes out, we are going to explain it. And Akufo-Addo said one district, one factory. He wait for manifesto. He just said, this is what it means. That every district within this will have a factory. The factory will be determined by the thing that the district produces. So if you're a district and we see there's natural palm oil, so the districts and the factories were supposed to come out of the natural circumstance of the district. So if you're a district and you have mangoes naturally, we'll put a mango factory. If you're a district and you have orange naturally, we put an orange factory. If you're a district and you naturally have horticulture, we put a horticulture factory. In the second phase of it, we'll see how we can blend those things. GMO is there. We can blend somebody's orange with somebody's mango to do mango orange juice. And there came a coffee juice in the central region, because the central region demonstrated that they could grow pineapple. So a coffee came, and it's there now. They're exporting. That's very simple and straightforward. What is the policy has been said by in some documents when the manifesto, the flag bearer is teasing it out. TUC like it. It's about getting airports everywhere. Let's not go far. The chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asidu Nketia, this is his understanding of 24-hour economy.
24-hour economy, no. The ayabaya ni say, abai ebecha electricity boa ewo from kura ediama enyuma yefo mo beba adwuma anajo no mabeya adwuma enti mo amoye fundraise mo amoye welders mo amokura eka sene ne amane ma mo hia electricity pa no mo penufo na mo adwuma emfaso aba mo a mo be sign ne na mo ba adwuma anajo use electricity a na ne boa ede akofom wo mo ya iron rods ene ya mo use anyama wode kese no mo be ye mo adwuma anajo a wo be hu se anyama wode bo be kofom pa aboa mo ama mo nya mfaso na maburu no so wo mo anya adwuma aye enti abana nteni a church 24-hour economy num na muji tumu a eno aye game changer ewo oman Ghana.
Johnson, I say don't get here. You heard him. He said the 24-hour economy means that electricity will be cheaper in the evening. So if you are somebody who uses electricity like you are a fitter or a welder or that kind of thing, you can stop working in the afternoon and work in the evening because electricity will be cheaper in the evening. Electricity will be cheaper in the evening when ECG, from the time we were children, Gridco, they've told us that peak time is evening. That is the peak time. So that is when, if there's doomsday or anything, it happens more in the evening because it's peak time. Everybody's light is on because people are at home. In the afternoon, some people go all the way to work at the ministries. If you're in Accra, they go to Kumasi in the center. If you're in Kumasi or Takrade or Tamale, that kind of thing. But Asiedun Ketia says that it is in that evening, which is peak time, that is when the ECG will make the electricity cheaper. So that if you're a welder, you need not work in the morning. You just have to go and work in the evening. That is his understanding of 24-hour economy. There's no blueprint. The last one I'll show you is this guy who is not a top brass of the party, but he showed up in a studio and he also has something to say. 24-hour economy. This is what he said.
Also, about 40 day hour
24 hours economy.
Now, how do you
24-hour economy no. Obiati ase. Very very simple. Sisi ase ya buy about 10. Ekobot 10. Abona ekobot 10. Ya pon another president another program eto aswa. It's another 24 hours na yakwa anim. Anambwa. Ya pon mo show na. Studio na eda ho. Anambwa. We put my studios. Na sada from 10 to 11.
Yeah, go off.
More pon but another political program enkoso biom. Another Anambwa.
The government point 24-hour economy.
That's sada so host here.
That's sada politics.
Yes, no so host near to aso. Ono so point na na omomudi ona mo so aba. Na ekọ anim. Still no pon. Obi amfiri ase na ase ejuma to aso a.
Na ye pon.
Mo pon but a program is a program ne pon Anambwa. Program ne pon ya pon sisi a empefo ta mo twen. Na ka o se nya ta no bebre because won say me kura book na me buy. We could book full book na me buy. The also it was me kasa the content say be am in set time endorse. Nja ga pon no 24 hours economy na ka salate wo here. Say 1 hour na 2 hours ah. Na ya to aso and 12 2 and ya pon ya e kofie.
Na mo so pon na fufraba.
Na fufraba.
The politics throughout.
Na policy say be another be fufro peace FM me say mo this way. Mo blah blah blah. Sa we sin na no. Na omoso bon wudowuro. Na say ejuma na ekoso. And never my economy let me be. Yet me able to con yet be an tantam because baby I think they of an wash. Who said dollar circus review?
And a 24-hour
economy. Said dollar circus review. So
me.
You're quite 3 billion if I am a buyer. Dollar yes stable.
Me my
So when you close Good Evening Ghana, then when I close, then Apreku and the team will come. They continue Good Evening Ghana till 2 a.m. When they close, another group can they will do Good Evening Ghana 24 hours, 24-hour economy. Whose fault is it? Samuel Gyamfi, the National Propaganda Secretary of the National Democratic Congress. He's been unable or he's failed to develop a simple blueprint that his communicators can work with. That's what has happened. It is on his shoulders. This is the problem. All political parties must have communications people who are up to the task so that Ghanaians can have something to choose from, so that we have good, and then we choose one. We don't want a politics. That's what I've been crying about. Yeah, I like Dr. Baumi, I know that about it. But what I've been crying about, having covered so many elections, is that let's have one election one day where this is good, that is good. All parties are solid. That is what Ghanaians deserve. That is what Ghanaians deserve. But if people are doing this kind of politics, where instead of focusing on his work and delivering something that is of high standard for Ghanaians to make a choice about, he is chasing jackpot tapes. That's what will happen. He's not sitting down in his office and dreaming the strategy that will help Ghanaians, not NDC people only, Ghanaians to be able to assess it and make a determination, to interrogate it. He's not doing that. So his people don't know what 24-hour economy is. This one says that, this one says that, this one says that. Because he hasn't, then he has the effrontery to be sacking people from the party. Okay, we don't have too much time. I've gone 4 minutes over this story. It's time for us to get to call. Before then, though, let's go to the text message. What people are saying about this one. Sarah, what are they saying?
Okay, so thanks, Paul. This is what people are saying. From Ishan, he says, the montage has too much education induced into it. History is everything to our development. Great peace, Paul Adomosri and